in my mind, God shouldn't allow innocent people to die. And then I remember, even though it was initially about my brother, my train of thought just started going off in all directions, and I was thinking, all those children that die, especially the children, and you know, it makes you go off in all different directions. And I remember for about a good year, anytime it's like I was angry with God. It's like I was thinking, well, why did he let that happen? And every time I saw something else, it was, why did he let that happen? Welcome to A Woman's Word. The topic of discussion this week is, does God exist? It's quite a big topic, and we're going to go around and see exactly what he means to each of us. As you can see this week, we have a guest in the studio with us, and this is Janet. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you.
And we hope that you enjoyed the discussion today. So, yeah, I'm going to kick it off. It's quite a big topic, and I would say that if you'd asked me the same questions at different points in my life, I'd probably had different answers to you. I think growing up, I always thought that God existed, but I think whenever there's been something tragic that's happened in our life or within the family, that's when I've questioned, does he exist, and why? Why would he allow such suffering or such a thing to happen? And I'm sure that a lot of people probably question if he exists, especially when people close to them die, or you know, they have a terminal illness or something like that. So I remember when our uncle died, a couple of years ago, I remember questioning then. I was like, you know, does he exist? Well, why would he allow this to happen? You know, so I think even I should imagine even people of faith, wouldn't you say, Janet? So people with strong faith, like Christian people, I should imagine that even they would have thoughts like that. What would you think?
Yes, I do believe that those that are Christians, they may have doubts at times themselves. But they do believe that they continue to believe in God. Me, myself, I do believe in God. I work where people live, and we look after, and they go, you know, we all going to die. It seems, you know, very strange sometimes when you see someone who's, say, 95 that's living, and then someone that's 5 years old that's very sick, and you would say, you know, God acts in strange ways, but we're all here for a purpose, and God gives me hope personally. And during times when I went through many journeys in my life, if I didn't believe in God, it wouldn't have got me by. So that's what's kept me going.
But do you think, though, I mean, sometimes I think, is it us as individuals that want to believe in something? Because if you don't believe in that thing, you've got nothing else
to get you
well,
through.
I was going to ask, you know, sorry to tell you, but when you were saying, Janet, that, you know, your faith was the thing that brought you through, I'm just saying that, what is it that you believe God did for you? Did he give you strength than you think you could have just given to yourself?
Yes. I think when I wasn't feeling really not well, I found strength when I didn't know where it came from. I would be on days where I couldn't move or get up, move at all. And then when I had to do something, I could just get going. And it was basically like a miracle. And how I kept going, it had to be from somewhere and not just from myself. So somebody, I believed, obviously I'd help and lots of support from my family and my husband, but I also thought that, you know, God didn't give up on me.
That's because you believe.
That's because you believe. Yeah.
But then, do you think then it's like, you know, like what you were saying earlier, Norgie, it's like God, you kind of question him when people are sick or they die and so on and so forth. That is it that God is got a plan, like, you know what you said, Janet, like, you know, we're all here for a purpose. God has got a plan for us, and so when people go, that's when they're meant to go. Or, you know, when we look at people, it's only because of our attachment to them that we don't want them to go. So we think, why is this happening? Why is God doing this? You know, so I'm just saying that maybe we look at it in the wrong way. And really, all we should be looking from God is not just to make the things that we selfishly want right, but for God just to guide us and to give us strength when we need it.
I agree.
You know?
I think for me, I remember the first time I was like questioning God actually, and I remember that point was when our dad passed away, and it's like I was only 9, but I do remember because we had to go Sunday school, we had to go to church and so forth, you know, and they say God will look after you and this and that. And then suddenly, you know, our dad got sick and died suddenly. And I remember thinking at the time, like, but they were telling us how God is great and God would heal and all these sort of things. And, you know, prayers will help him and all that. And I remember thinking as a child, but he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
So what type of God is this? However, you know, growing up and, you know, having a child of my own, having a lovely family, good friends, I think I'm quite an optimistic person, and I thank God every day. And even though things don't always go right, I have more things going well for me. So I'm so grateful, and I still thank Him. And so I think even though yes, I know there's still a lot of badness going on in the world. You know, there's people going hungry, there's war, all sorts of things. But I think for me, it's about just doing the best I can to be the best person I can be and making a difference where I can. And when you say about purpose, it's like, yes, we haven't got control around how long we live or die sort of thing. So during that time when we just have to just live it and do the good that we can do and do the best that we can. And if that's what we leave behind, then I don't know. So
but can you not, I think, like you know, when through life, there's been times where I've questioned things, and I think growing up, obviously we went Sunday school, and and I think it's conditioning, that you're conditioned to believe in God, you know. And I question, and again, as Christian, they say you shouldn't question God. I will question, because as much as we're here for a purpose and we live, we die. What about all those children or things that happen, that horrendous things that happen? This is my thing now. If there's someone up there, why do these things? Why are these things allowed to happen? That's my question, and that's why I question.
But what do you want God to do?
Well, I don't want Him to do anything, but it's because I don't necessarily think. Some days I don't believe there's someone. I just don't believe.
It's like if everything was good and everybody was good and only good things happened, and everything, you know, everyone wants peace and everyone to get on and for the world to be a better place. If everything was like that, you think that everyone would be happy? It would just be a naturally happy place. I mean, if
it wasn't murder and rape and things like that,
good things, then how would you know what's bad?
But why do you have to have so bad, Clay? Why does it's got to be like really like, you know? This is my thing.
I'm just saying that I think that Earth, on this planet, right, we have good and bad, and it's contrast, and it's for us to kind of try and do the best that we can. But then I think if there was not the contrast, then we wouldn't be able to say, well, you know, that's a good deed and that's a bad deed. And I even have, in saying good and bad, still, I don't think that we should look at everything in good and bad, because it's like, you know, there was a story about the man whose son, I don't know, broke his leg or got sick. I can't even remember. It's told in different ways. And he was saying, like, why my son and whatever. And then when, like, they were having people go into war, his son couldn't go because he was sick. And his son got better, I think. But the moral of the story was, sometimes we can't see what is ahead. And although we can look at something and we think, why did that happen?
So what's that got to do with God?
What do you mean?
Well, that scenario, what's God got to do
Yeah,
with
but
that?
I'm saying that God might have thought, this guy, I don't want him to go and die. You know, that wasn't his fate.
But
No. It's very difficult because, and I think when we do question it, if there's a God above, I think for the majority of us, it's when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's what makes you question the faith. I mean, the very first time, funny enough, Angie said was when her father died. And it was when my brother died. Now, she was 9, I was 27. You know, but it was the first time that it made me think, hang on a minute, if there is a God above, why did he allow someone to shoot this innocent person? Why did he allow him to be in that place at that time? Because you in my mind, God shouldn't allow innocent people to die. And then I remember, even though it was initially about my brother, my train of thought just started going off in all directions, and I was thinking, all those children that die, especially the children, and you know, it makes you go off in all different directions. And I remember for about a good year, anytime it's like I was angry with God. It's like I was thinking, well, why did he let that happen? And every time I saw something else, it was, why did he let that happen? And I remember the time when my brother died, 3 people died at the same time. And all the questions and all the anger was coming out, because I was thinking, this is the Almighty that's supposed to be able to stop all the suffering. You know, so it is very difficult. But at the same time, I find, I mean, just this week I was driving and someone pulled out in front of me and I really had to slam on the brakes. And the first thing I said was, oh, thank God.
Yeah, but that's I think that's just saying.
Which is, maybe it's just the same. But sometimes when things are going really well for you, or you feel that you've been saved from a situation, I think the first thing that does come to mind is thank God.
And a lot of people who've been enlightened, you know, or had something in their death experience, that changes their whole perspective. You know, even if they weren't a believer before, they believe in some way.
And I think also that there's more younger people going to church. I think there has been an increase.
See, now the church, okay.
I think God and religion are 2 different things, though.
Really? God and religion?
God and religion, they're separate.
How so?
Don't believe in religion, but I believe in God.
Oh wow!
I don't. To me, religion is a brainwashing thing to control the masses. So I don't believe in religion. And I'm not saying that people who go to church and read the Bible and whatever, it's all rubbish. Don't get me wrong. But I don't believe everything.
I think the thing is there's a lot of corruption within.
Exactly. And also this God-fearing, you know, the God that you must fear. I'm sorry, I don't believe in none of it.
What do you think?
I think personally that, you know, when they say there's good and bad things happen, I think we have signs when things happen. And sometimes we don't listen. Sometimes you're in a bad relationship and you stay in it, and the signs are there. And then the signs are there and there, and people still stay in that relationship. When they come out that relationship, they say, "Oh, thank God," as Nordia would say, because the signs were there. So somebody was showing them the signs.
I don't think it has to be somebody. I think you know in yourself. No, I think you know in
yourself. That your experiences and that you have is what makes you grow and develops you. And I think that whether it's, you know, you want to call it God or whatever people want to call it, it's that your higher self guiding you to be a better person, to grow while you're on this planet. However,
then what about atheists who do not believe in God and that will grow, and they're the same? Do you see what I mean?
But I think that atheists, it comes down to what is the definition of God. It's like, I don't think he's this man in the sky that you know, is guiding me. I don't think he's a man. I don't think he's a woman. You know, I just believe that there's something higher than myself. So I think that atheists, I'm not saying
of course,
may believe something like that.
But some do not believe at all, you know.
Some might just think you're just here and you live and you die. You know, but then I think that again, there's laws on this earth, and if these people who don't believe in anything are grateful and they're helpful,
Right.
they can still live a good
Yeah,
life.
and that's what I believe.
I don't
That's
believe
what I
that
believe.
they're going
Yeah.
to hell because
Yeah.
they said,
That's
I don't
right.
believe
Well, they don't believe in
God.
it. They don't believe in hell, so
Well,
they, you know.
I'm talking about the Christians who believe they're going to hell.
the Christians.
Or
But
religious
I
things.
think that a lot of ordinary people that may say, when I say ordinary, people that may say they're not religious or they don't believe in God.
Mm.
I think sometimes when that critical thing happens in their life, all of a sudden they start praying. But
Yeah,
then-
but no, but that's
a part of
that-
brainwashing.
right,
I
that
think
it
that
is, it
it's
is.
where how you're brought
But
up.
would
Yeah,
you
it
say
is.
that's
It is.
brainwashing, or would you say that's not comfort to some?
No, I think
Because
sometimes it is brainwashing.
when people are dying or they think they're going to die, they ask for the priest to come.
Yeah, because
You know,
they're
and
because they're on
that
their
gives
last
them
legs.
comfort. And
Yeah.
then there's people that get baptised when they
Yeah,
die,
of course, of course.
because they think if they're going to go into the next life, because there is a next life in the Christian
and yet
world.
they haven't fought, and they haven't been a Christian
And they
all
haven't
their
been a
life. But
Christian
as
all
soon
their
as
life,
they're
but
about
as
to
soon as they're
go,
about to die, they feel that they need to go somewhere because they need that comfort. So, in a way, you know,
But I think that's got a lot to do with people, how they've been brought up.
how they've been brought up.
Because I think black people on the whole have some sort of faith, you know. I think West Indian people are generally, you know, are God-fearing
Christian.
people.
Yeah.
And even if they don't go to church and they party and they cuss and they carry on or whatever,
Like
right, they've still, they still have a belief in God, and it's from they were small and
Yeah.
their parents and grandparents.
But I think that belief comes and it's in waves, because like if say for me, I question, as I said, if someone was to ask me, even when I fill forms and they say like they ask
Religion.
sometimes I type
religion.
Christian or tick, and then sometimes I just leave it because I think to myself, this is what I think. I try and live my, I know I try and live my life a certain way. I don't go out there and upset or hurt people, which if you were to look at the Christian way of life, that's how I'm living. But I wouldn't say I'm a Christian. I don't think I'm a Christian as such.
But do you think that you have to go to church to be a Christian? Some people
No,
don't.
no,
Some
not.
people don't go
That's
to
what the church
church,
says sometimes.
or they can't get to church because of work or because of all other circumstances. They're not well, but they do believe in God. You know.
Yeah, but I believe,
So,
as
you
Mum
know,
always say, you don't need to go. You can have church in your house
Yes,
if
right.
that's your belief,
Yes,
that's your
right.
faith. If
Yes,
that's your
right.
belief in your faith. My thing is that I just don't know where I am with this question, because sometimes I think he does exist, or whoever, there's a higher being, and then again times in my life where things happen, I just think to myself, I don't know, I'm just not sure.